Hello, and welcome to the Swift Talk. I'm Kait, the Swiftie.
And I'm Not So Swift Sam, or Ben if you're our producer today. Hi.
Alter egos.
I don't even know why I said that.
It's all good. You're not the first one. I've had a long series of nuns and teachers that have all insisted that my name is Ben and not Sam. So, it's okay.
There you have it. New co-host, guys.
Co-host. Ben's coming in hot.
AKA Ben.
Ben.
We are 1 week closer to the last of the Eras tour.
Yeah.
NOLA.
NOLA.
She was in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
She had 3 dates, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked, do you want to guess what the estimated economic impact was from her 3 days in New Orleans?
Estimated economic impact.
Mm-hmm.
I'll throw out a total number for the 3 days. 18 mil.
No. Not even close.
73.2.
No.
Higher or lower?
Significantly higher.
357.
Closer, but no. $500 million.
500 million influx.
Mm-hmm.
Small businesses.
Yeah. Well, in New Orleans,
hotels.
New Orleans really catered to Swifties.
Mm-hmm.
So they put up friendship bracelets on the Superdome. They did all sorts of sponsored events around town. The zoo had a whole enrichment with the animals and they themed it out for Taylor Swift. The little penguins had their friendship bracelets on. Oh, that's so cute. And so New Orleans really stepped it up to host the Eras tour, which was fun to watch. They also increased police presence.
Mm-hmm.
They cleaned up the streets.
Mm-hmm.
They really put their best foot forward. And that made a lot of people question what was going on.
Well, I mean, New Orleans does have an aesthetic for big parades, big abundance, big everything, but not necessarily in
Safety.
Yeah. Cleanliness.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of it is we're close to the river, we're close to these things. There's been flood damage in the past, but this
Hurricane.
is just its historic area, and now it seems like they really.
So I think some people who may live in New Orleans have been taking to TikTok, being like, "Hey, wait a minute! Why can't you increase police presence all the time?
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't you working to make this safer all the time?" And the TikToks and the social media posts coming out of New Orleans was incredible. You had karaoke bars, you had people dancing in the streets, you had all sorts of Swifties all over the place, bonding and trading friendship bracelets. And it was really the concert spilled into the entire town. The whole atmosphere, the whole vibe of New Orleans went from Mardi Gras to Eras tour.
Yeah, you have a whole city that's backbone is based on beads, and Taylor Swift is coming in. You're gonna see some bracelets and necklaces get thrown around. Yeah.
Yeah. It was it was really fun to see it. My FOMO was very high.
Of all places to go and see,
I really
I know
missed out
we've
there.
talked about Europe and stuff. I know we've talked about that, but dude, New Orleans.
Well, I don't know, because Indianapolis is really they've ramped it up. They were like, "Oh, you think you've got this? Wait till we're done." I cannot wait to see how that comes to fruition this coming weekend.
A $500 million footprint.
Mm-hmm.
Safer, cleaner New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
What
for
else?
the weekend.
For the weekend. I mean,
Taylor says she can make bad guys good for a weekend. I guess she can make tough cities clean for a weekend.
Mom and Dad were there, so they cleaned up nice.
Mother showed up.
Well, who was opening? Who was
Gracie Abrams, our girl.
Yeah.
She crushes it.
Any other big monumental moment for the weekend?
Could you perhaps have heard about what happened on the Eras Tour stage this weekend?
Did she fall?
No.
Okay.
Her stage did break.
Okay, so I have seen a lot of singers the past month and a half have had falls off of the stage.
No, she did not.
Okay.
Taylor's Louboutins don't fall.
They stick in the grate?
Yeah,
They
they're
do
ready.
break.
They do break. They broke once.
The stage collapsed?
No, her stage did not collapse.
Okay.
She has this mechanism that comes out during Tortured Poets, and it moves her up the stage. We call it the Tay Roomba.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like a Roomba spins and it moves.
Okay.
And she's on it the last night, and it just didn't work. It just stopped. So she got off and continued, but
Because what I've seen lately in my ethereal internet has been Billie Eilish, Billie Eilish, and I don't know, two of the other big three for female celebrities below Taylor by like 5 rungs were all falling on stage or going down the stairs and falling, or like,
yeah.
and then I saw that it was Sabrina Carpenter and somebody else. They had their raised and lower platforms also malfunctioning the past month and a half.
You know,
It's just
technology, engineering.
they don't make it like they used to, which was they never made them before.
You can only control so much. But speaking of Sabrina, she did make another Eras Tour appearance.
Really?
Yeah. She came out during the surprise song set. Well, so Taylor goes, I've never done this before,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a song that I've had stuck in my head and I just kind of want to play it. And she starts playing Espresso and we're all like, okay. And then she calls Sabrina and she's like, hey Sabrina, like I sang your song a little bit and they were singing so loud, I'm sure you could hear them from wherever you are. And then she's like, how long would it take you to get dressed and come join me? And then Sabrina pops up and they sing Espresso together,
Mm-hmm.
with Taylor doing the line, I'm working late because I'm a singer. And then they did Is It Over Now with the iconic line, 300 takeout coffees later. And then she asked if she could please, please, please do one more of Sabrina's songs. And they did Please, Please, Please.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really fun. Never before done on the Eras Tour.
Well, right. It seems like a lot of times she features her openers,
Yeah.
and maybe there's a duet moment, maybe.
Yeah.
But this,
And like she's brought Gracie out. They've done Us. She's
Mhm.
brought Sabrina out before, and they did, I believe, White Horse, 15 maybe. You know, she's duetted with Phoebe on Nothing New.
Mhm.
She's duetted with Florence, who was not in New Orleans. Florida's off the set list now.
right, a different state, yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
300
Takeout
Which
coffees
song
later.
is this?
Is It Over Now?
There's some relation with Sabrina Carpenter and Taylor Swift that I think when she was early days putting up videos of her doing songs, she was covering Taylor,
Yes.
and it was the first one that kind of blew up. Is it that song?
No.
Okay.
That song is a newer release vault track from
I forget.
1989.
Taylor's timeless. I forget. when
We
all these things
we
happen.
talked about that when she did the duet on the Eras Tour with Sabrina.
Okay.
She did that song.
Okay.
That's what's sticking in your brain.
Ah, the koala's activating. Okay.
Every so often the wrinkle pops in. But she did. I mean, we've never.
Do you think this might hint at a future collaboration?
Well, so I went on TikTok after, and I made a comment about it. I got called middle-aged on TikTok this week. So
I'm so proud of you.
it was a real moment. I was like, well, I'm going to take this win because she didn't call me old.
You're so close to being a boomer. You have no idea.
I was like, you really, she didn't okay boomer me. She called me middle-aged Swiftie women who have mean girl mentality or something like that. Because I was like, I think it's kind of funny. This weekend, Sabrina Carpenter joined Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Olivia Rodrigo premiered her
That was the other one who
concert. Olivia Rodrigo,
Yeah.
yes, she
Mhm.
did. Premiered her concert movie like Taylor did.
fell. Right.
And she premiered it on Friday. And then Saturday, Taylor and Sabrina came out. And I was like,
Because there's still beef between Rodrigo and...
I really don't think there's still beef. At one point, there was beef between Olivia and Sabrina.
And they were both Disney kids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Girl Meets World
yeah.
and High School Musical, the musical. Yeah, we're too old for this. We're middle-aged.
I'm just a
And then
middle-aged white woman over here.
Swiftie. And then Taylor and Olivia hypothetically, theoretically could have had some beef, we think, over crediting on songs.
Uh-huh.
But they were fangirling about each other and then it stopped.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some theories that Olivia's team was like, you got to be your own person. Don't get too close to Taylor. You're just going to be in her, orbit. You're not going to be your own person. There's some thoughts that was kind of why there was a split there too.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, Sabrina got in that orbit real quick and I think is being her own person and her own artist and flourishing and, still friends with Taylor, collaborating with Taylor, but very much her own entity, her own star.
Yeah, she came to the orbit and then slingshotted out. But like every now and then makes a visit. Yeah.
And I think we're seeing that a little bit with Gracie.
Mm-hmm.
And so, who knows? But I just thought it was interesting that the timing of it all.
Mm-hmm.
But people go on TikTok like, it's not that deep. I'm making a TikTok about it. I don't think it's that deep either. I just was like, oh, that's interesting. So yeah, I'm now middle-aged. I'm not old.
Well, she's a carpenter. She's building bridges, She's building Phoebe Bridgers.
It's all that espresso she drinks. And then in football news, so on the Eras Tour, because all things are Eras Tour right now for us, Friday night, Taylor was singing he never thinks of me except when I'm on TV, and then she does the passing of a football. I'm like, okay. And then on Saturday night, he never thinks of me except when I'm on TV, and she does the touchdown sign, and we're all like, okay. And then Sunday afternoon, the Chiefs play the Raiders in Las Vegas, and Travis scored a touchdown. And you know what's interesting about the touchdown that Travis scored? It's the first touchdown in 13 games that he's had. Hasn't a touchdown, 13 games. And it happened to be on the 13th play.
So Taylor used her powers.
And it happened to make the Chiefs score
13 points?
Yeah.
13 going on 30 yards.
87.
And the play was called Easter Egg.
It was called Midnight Rain. Thank you.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then on Sunday after the game, she did his first down celebration. And at the end, she's saying, Karma's the guy on the Chiefs because they won. And that's apparently what she does when they win now.
Mm-hmm.
And they're undefeated, so
he's going to do his best to think about her more than when she's not on the TV. Like, he's going to think about her all the time.
Well, the guy on the Chiefs coming straight home to her.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if he hasn't scored in 13 days.
13 games.
And, maybe that's because she's done the juju.
Well, I mean, my fantasy football team really appreciated those.
Right. Oh, she did it for you.
She did it for her fans who put Travis, it's for all of us.
Mm-hmm. For those of you who can't make it to the Eras Tour, I hope that you are at or watching my boyfriend play football.
I'm winning your fantasy football game this week, which I did. Yeah. So that's what we have this week in Taylor news.
Okay.
Yeah, very, very quiet.
Yeah, nothing. I think she kind of. It should be not as dramatic as the weeks prior.
I mean, It's just.
It's just it's the countdown.
Yeah,
the clock is ticking.
The end of all the endings.
Mm-hmm.
Her last two shows her last round of shows are in Toronto and Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
So TV, Taylor's version.
So what song are we doing today, Kait? Taylor's version TV? TV,
Taylor's version.
Toronto and Vancouver.
Jason wanted to take a field trip.
I mean, I'm taking a field trip.
He wanted to drive to Toronto together.
I'm just going to be on the other side, in the different province, on the other side of the peninsula. But I'll be up there. I don't think it's going to be too hard to get over to Ontario.
I said no. We're not taking a field trip. We're not taking a road trip. Because he told me I could buy all the tickets and then we could go on the road trip. And I don't have that kind of money, Liquid.
What would solid? Solid cash?
Well, I can't pull into your retirement account for Eras Tour tickets, according to Floyd.
Taylor came in a can.
Floyd says that is not a reasonable expectation to break into your investment portfolio.
I agree with Floyd on this matter. I agree with your financial consultant.
Is that what you have? A guy named Floyd?
I do. I have a guy
Floyd's
named Floyd.
The best.
Oh, boy.
He subscribes, too.
All right, before we get any more heartache, where are we going on this?
We're doing Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince off of Leather.
Lover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is with Ed Sheeran?
Nope.
Okay, perfect. Then I really have no idea what this song is about.
This is a solo.
Cool.
All right. So we're going to hit pause. You hit pause, and we will be right back after we listen to
Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Man
Prince.
Boy Kid. Prince.
We'll be right back. You hit pause. We'll hit pause. I think that's what I'm supposed to say.
Yeah.
We'll be back. Jason, did you think this was a bop?
I'm not on this podcast.
There's a sign being held up at the producer desk.
It was being bopped around on a desk over there.
I believe the number was
I believe it was a 10.
A 10?
It was a 10.
Was it a 10 from Jason?
I don't want to take away from
No.
I mean, I'm going to take a win when I can get a win.
I think you should throw this question to Jason.
I mean, I think Jason already answered it.
I think this felt like it should have been on Midnights.
I think you start to see seeds of Midnights. This was, Lover, when she was kind of, the anxious attachment was strong here, and in Midnight you start to see the anxious attachment.
I could see her finishing this song and being like, man, I want to make a whole album that sounds like this.
Well, this is how she opens the Eras tour.
With this track?
With this track. She starts it off in the middle. It's been a long time coming.
Oh.
Just me and you.
I was too excited when I went to the movie. I don't remember.
Oh, you were so excited.
I was just blown away.
Excited. She comes out and the fun fans open up and then Taylor's there in the sparkly bodysuit. You get goosebumps just thinking about it.
I mean, because
it's been a long time coming. And it has. It's been so long since we'd seen her on tour. That's not the point of the song, but.
Okay, so, because I feel like this is.
If Jason's giving it a 10, though.
I give it a 10. I don't know if I have a score for you. I feel like this song left me with way more questions than it did strong opinions. Because I do like the boom, 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 and the single, not the single, but the piano keys, I dug it.
The arrangement is very nice.
I also think it's kind of I don't know if it's sardonic in what she's going for, the message or just the imagery, but the cheerleading background, the OKs, the go fight wins and stuff. It's kind of this weird. I mean, cheerleading is always supposed to be the rallying cry. It's get behind your team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this interesting juxtaposition of she's saying the person she's getting behind is the one who's getting behind her when there's this, she's watching as maybe the team she was rooting for, or maybe the ideas that she had, or she's seeing something wrong with the world. And people are going, as they're walking together, she's a bad, bad girl. Okay. It's this weird rally to be is she the one who's being these are the sheep going this way and I can't, I got to go this way. And someone's behind her. It's interesting. So I don't have a strong opinion of this song because it just makes me go, huh, a lot more than makes me go, or harumph. Harumph.
Are you want to get into it?
Sure.
So when Taylor wrote this song, her comment on it was, the song is about disillusionment with our crazy world of politics and inequality. And I said it in high school. And I think it's an interesting take to take kind of the chaos of modern day politics and put it into a high school setting. And so you've got rallies, political rallies, you've got pep rallies, you've got your team. She wants to paint the world blue or paint the town blue. They're going to call her a bad, bad girl. They're going to come for her. And then when you hear this song and you take it in the view of her documentary of the same name, Miss Americana, it starts to really paint a picture of where Taylor was. Because until this point, she'd never been political, and people had criticized and praised her for it. Mm-hmm. They were like, you have this fandom, you have this voice, and you're not using it. What's wrong with you? And then on the other side, people are like, remember what happened to the chicks when they got chatting? And remember, nobody wants to hear from you. And so she took that moment, and you see her discussing with her father and her mother and her team her desire to get out there and say something. and, you know, make her voice heard. And then you hear her father be like, as the person whose job it is to protect you, this terrifies me because it's so polarizing.
So the idea of a celebrity endorsing a political party, if you look at like real modern style of celebrities, your movie stars, your musicians and things that really kind of like came to prominence really like 1920s was when, like, you know, going into the talkies and things, you had
a voice.
You had a voice. And the idea of something like that happened with the Chicks, where that's more closer in proximity to what happened with Taylor, because you're looking at the Bush era, really, when it came to the Chicks. But you also have musicians that somehow you have like a Woody Guthrie that makes This Land Is Your Land, This Land Is My Land. And people look at the first chunk of that song like, this is the most American song there is. And then you see the end half of that song that he wrote and sang and was on the radio. It's like, you know, I saw the sign that said, this is not for you. This is only mine. Mm-hmm. And it both got him praise and in trouble. And it kind of came to a moment where, like, well, if you chop that out, we can get behind it. Versus if you have the whole thing, it's going to cause ripples. She's doing her Miss Americana, or the Miss Americana documentary came out, and you get more of that backstory of her having, I forget the politician, and I forget the...
So she came out against Trump. This is from 2020.
Well, it was Trump, and then there was
Marsha Blackburn, the senator from Tennessee.
That's where I wanted to touch on.
And, you know, she came out in a lengthy Instagram post. She really, really, for the first time, talked about the inequality of the LGBTQ community and, like, what they're facing and the concerns she had moving forward. Mm-hmm. And she very much endorsed and I can't remember the name of the person running against Marsha Blackburn. And she very much endorsed Hillary. And people were kind of like, oh, I'm sorry, she very much endorsed Biden. Mm-hmm. And people were like,
well, no, 2015.
No, this was 2020, though, when she did it.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So she very much endorsed Biden. And people were very torn. They were like, a lot of, you know, shut up and sing. Mm-hmm. That's your role. You're not supposed to be talking about politics. And then a lot of people were like, oh, I'm going to go vote. And what I think people tend to forget is at the core of all of her endorsements, at the core of everything politically she does, she's like, just vote. Like, register, make your voice heard. This is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. But you should vote. And I think that message gets lost a lot in the polarization on both sides. People are like, Taylor's voting for Kamala, so obviously you're voting for Kamala. Or I can't believe Taylor would even say anything. She needs to stay in her lane.
The fact that this person who I don't really like is now saying openly that they're voting for the person that I really don't like just makes me want to go that much more against both of them.
Yeah. And
it's
Trump, I mean, this time around, Trump came out and was like, I hate Taylor Swift. And we're like...
But isn't that funny? That both people on their platforms, Taylor gave a very strong-worded, understandable in a way, succinct message being like, I think that it's important to vote. I'm going to align with this side.
Yeah.
And Trump says, I hate Taylor Swift. And that message made everyone go, well, what did Taylor do? Look at it. And then again, reevaluate. Are you aligning with Taylor? Or are you aligning with Trump?
Yeah.
It both. She doesn't have to really mention him to get her point across. And he only has to mention her. And you figure out exactly where he is.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I think it's like, he doesn't like it that somebody doesn't like him.
Sure. He's more of the freaking, no, I mean, not people pleaser is going to be the wrong word, but I was trying to find that lyric he's that egotistical. He needs everyone to celebrate him and understand him and notice him and doesn't want to give a damn thing back.
No. Well, and, you know, it's an interesting conversation. I think this conversation's been happening for generations about whether or not celebrities should be endorsing or like what their impact is. And it's really kind of mind-blowing for me because I think it's an interesting take on a fan base that you don't think that the people can make their own decisions. If Taylor says you have to vote this way, I clearly have to go register to vote and need to vote exactly how Taylor is telling me to vote. And I'm not saying that I'm not voting like Taylor is, but I'm also saying, like, I think her fans aren't just sheep. I will buy whatever she puts out merchandise.
It's that hard thing of being like, okay, if you do have this power, if you do have this, whether it's from money, political, celebrityhood, like there's a certain power. If we're going Spider-Man, it's great power. There's great responsibility. You have an opportunity with your soapbox to not just promote yourself. It doesn't be your values, but it can promote like some of this for the common good. Registering to vote.
Great. I love that. Vote. Everybody should be. I love.
Register to vote and then go vote. Use your voice. Use your power.
It's
use
your
voice.
Words. It's your beliefs, your voice. Go vote. And at the crux of what Taylor said, it was register and vote.
And I think that where it's she's spelling out like this is where I'm going to be. That's her decision. That's
and this
fine.
Is why.
And she's saying I'm doing this because I can. You should go out and do the same thing, as in like vote for what's best for you. Vote for your common interests.
And it's because I see the news. I see all of this. They have no problem when it's a former president or a former cabinet member or a former governor. Like, this governor endorsed this person.
Sure.
But when it comes to a celebrity, well, you're not in that realm. And so it's interesting to see, like, I can't imagine what it must be like to be Taylor's parents when she hits put send or publish on her posts about politics, because could you imagine the threats and the mail she's getting? Like, can you like, if this is just the vitriol we hear in everyday life, like, what are the people who we don't like know, or the people who are really extreme in their views, like, what are they like? I can't even imagine what it must be like.
Well, there's also like the outliers. I don't want to go. I don't know how far we're going down this hole, but like you have somebody who's a celebrity that then becomes prominent in politics.
Arnold
Schwarzenegger, and more prominently Ronald Reagan. Both of them were celebrities. They were known quantities for their performing in Hollywood. That if any of them said anything prior to becoming a governor about what their message is behind, like, I think you should vote like this, or I think this is what our country needs to align behind, or what our core values are, people would say, well, it's a freaking celebrity saying whatever they want to say. And then they ran successful campaigns, they were elected, and they had careers in politics. Do we really go to Arnold right now to figure out what we want to do? Should we, because he was a politician and had successfully won elections? Should we not, because before that they were a celebrity? Now their celebrityhood is kind of both. Like, what do we do? With Taylor, it's kind of why I've asked you multiple times, like, do you think Taylor's going to have something in politics? Because there's weird thing of being like, we can instantly discredit or give credit to her, and then does that take it away? Because here's somebody who's using their thing. We see what they do everywhere that they go, that they're giving money to people in need, that they are trying to do things. And yes, they have a jet that's the most flown jet in the world. Okay, and There's always going to be something. Does that take away from her message?
I think it's interesting. I saw a TikTok yesterday, maybe this morning, and it was Kaylee Cuoco from Big Bang Theory.
Okay.
Kaylee Cuoco.
Yeah.
And she was at an award show, and it was around an election, and she goes, due to a mishap with the Electoral College, we're pleased to announce that Taylor Swift is the new president of the United States. And Taylor's like, no.
So.
And, I've been wrong before. I can't imagine why she would want to do that to herself.
Sure.
But it's interesting to me that the overlap of celebrity in politics. There's somebody who we both know, who we see out and about, and he's convinced that Taylor has said somewhere that if Trump wins, she's leaving the country.
Right.
And I was like, I don't think that's a thing. But
so this song right here,
it's an interesting take on talking politics, but still making it subtle.
So so that's the thing, is I'm trying to figure out, because if it is politics, I feel like in a way it's got to be straight up politics. The subtleness here makes me feel like this is Lover, right?
Yeah.
And this is supposed to be kind of like Always Meet My Always. She's kind of transitioning into.
Well, we went from the darker Reputation starts really like aggressive and dark and hard, and there's this
this is post-canceled Taylor.
Yeah, it's post-cancel. It's post her addressing being canceled.
So the bad girl things and stuff like that kind of comes from the whole, like, it's kind of like that snake relation. Like, people have said things about me. People are going to whisper about me.
Well, and like people always have an opinion on Taylor. Like, they like to say she's bad influence, or she's not great, or she's this, or she's that. Like, there's a lot of negativity surrounding how people talk about Taylor in certain circles.
And so that's where I'm kind of like, when it comes to this thing, like the imagery is there piece by piece when it comes to political in this. You know, the comment made about, I'm so sad. You said the lyric, or part of the lyric, I'm so sad we're going to paint the town blue.
Yeah.
Can easily be seen as like voting Democratic, sad, crying liberals. Like it can easily, anybody, if they're looking at it in a diplomatic American diplomacy lens, can add those things to it. The idea of it being, and I am going to cherry pick here just because I feel like this is a through line. I just want to, the idea of it being, I mean, in some way they're rolling fake dice. You play stupid games, win stupid prizes. It could be the idea, like some people could say, like it's the politics are rigged. It could be the idea that the game is loaded. The game, you didn't have a chance. It's the house that's always going to win.
Well, it also could be like, you know, sometimes there's campaign, like this, they do things, the stunts, the tricks, to like get things talking.
So yeah, I mean, if you're relating it, the prom or high school to politics, you're doing the fundraiser because you have the big party you want to do. So we're doing the fundraiser, we're doing the food drive, we're doing this, we're doing that. Politics is the same thing. We're doing hurricane relief. They're running for re-election. We're doing stuff. We need your involvement. The go fight win, like that idea of like you're pumping up the crowd because
at rallies,
you're rooting for your team, whether it's the red team or the blue team. Sorry, the green team didn't make it this year. Maybe next time. But there are these, there's like those strong images. And I feel like what gets lost is in that subtleness, is this somebody who's, I'm so caught up in what the world is doing, but you're my rock who's going to just walk with me.
Well, I think you have to kind of go back up to the top of the song where she says, you know, I adore you. I'm crazier for you than I was at 16. And 16 is really when she burst into music. And so she's talking to the public. And she's saying, you know, like, I love my fans. I love the public. But, like, I'm now getting lost. Like, American Glory is fading before me. I don't see my path anymore.
Okay. So this is to the public.
I think it's out there. She's talking to the fans, the public, the people who are going to criticize. Like, she goes, it's you and me. That's my whole world. Like, my whole world is being Taylor Swift.
Because I was looking at it, she's talking to the singular.
No, I think she's talking to the general.
Okay.
And, like, where she's like, you know, they whisper in the hallway, she's a bad, bad girl. Like, the tabloids, the people, what they say. Like, you know, it's the gossip. It's the commentary. And she's like, I don't want to lose my fame, but I don't want to stay silent.
So let me ask you this then. If this is kind of the addresses to the fans, the general public, the listener, that you, and it can be the collective you, not just the singular you, like, in my mind, she's the Miss Americana.
She is.
So who is the Heartbreak Prince?
I think
it's us?
The society.
Society is the Heartbreak Prince.
I think, you know, she's been canceled. So she knew that if the chicks got canceled, they went out there, they talked about a sitting president, granted, in a different country. They criticized him. They got canceled. Completely canceled. They really haven't come back in a huge way like they were. So she's saying in this, she's like, I don't want you to go. I don't want to fight.
I don't really want to go. I don't really want to fight because nobody's going to win. I think you should come home.
Yeah. So, like, I think it's her grappling with her disillusionment in the country and the things around her, but also grappling with her voice, her celebrity. And so it's an interesting take on, like, do I say something or do I just watch all of these things fade?
Mm-hmm. So it kind of deals with, it's not so strong-sided of being, this is where I am, but it's so strongly grounded in, I'm as lost as anyone else could be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at this, not to be nihilistic, but I don't see anything that I do having any more positive impact. In fact, I see anything that I do is going to make a loss happen for anybody. Mm-hmm. So, what do we do?
Yeah. I think, and that's why this song is so interesting, and I think going to be looked back on through her discography as a unique take on a celebrity endorsement. Like, she was very honest here about, like, I feel like I have to say something, but everyone's telling me not to say something. Mm-hmm. And am I making a mistake? Am I putting my career? Am I putting my family? Am I putting myself in danger because I said something? But am I putting the future in danger by not saying something?
Sure. American stories burning before me. I'm feeling helpless. The damsels are depressed. Boys will be boys then. Where are the wise men? I think that it's also interesting that you are setting this, because you wrote this, that you're setting this in that high school type of feel, because high school generally is when you are, in a sense, finalizing your education in America. You're finalizing on America. You're getting so close to the moment of being, I'm an adult, 18 years old, you can vote. And it's kind of like the expectation of you should have a formed opinion on how you're going to vote and how you're going to align yourself. And for most people, it's, how do I align myself? Well, my parents align with this, and this is what I've been told, so I'm going to do that. Or this one teacher said this, I'm going to do that. Or my friends are saying this, I'm going to do that. That idea of finding your own voice and figuring out exactly, okay, we're doing it now. It's now time. It's go. Action.
Yeah.
Okay. It's someone who's realizing that in all this insanity, confusion is natural. Mm-hmm. And it's not that it's really frowned upon, but it's kind of okay. But at the same point, it can't be that way forever. You got to figure out where you're going to go and what you're going to do. Does it have to be this moment? If it is, how does it impact it? It's all these, it's like I'm left with a lot of questions listening to the song, because where my head is going is the fact that it's so muddied that of course you need somebody to be on your side and feel some support, because you're lost. And it's daunting.
Well, and I think too, it's that there might not be a right answer. Mm-hmm. And you have to come to terms with the fact that there's no right answer.
And yet there are real expectations.
But there are some real wrong answers too. And there's expectations and there's uncertainty, and you don't know if it's going to mean anything. If you put yourself on the line, it could mean nothing. And it's that like real anxiety about doing what you believe is right when so many people believe that you could be wrong.
Do you have any info on Joel Little?
No.
Okay. Who's one of the people that kind of helped write and produce this song?
Okay. I did not get that deep.
New Zealander.
Uh-huh.
Do you think that, I guess my last question on this, like, outsider, helping you to formulate this idea, do you feel like the outside guy who's like, I grew up in a different part of the world, we do things slightly different here, but like what you're feeling right now maybe isn't unique? Maybe it's the idea of it being like a lot of people anywhere look at you and what's going on and can be like, you know what? I'm not Taylor Swift, but I got issues too. Do you feel like that's kind of like the cultivation is,
Sure.
Taylor's songs being relatable?
Yeah, I think, it's always great to have somebody from a different perspective, especially when you're so close to the topic, to give you some insight. So I'm sure it was super helpful.
Because I feel like if that's the idea, like having it be like the high school setting, anyone has gone to high school. Anyone's felt
that loneliness, making a stand, whether it's against a bully or against,
or you're on one side of the team, you're on one side of the field, and you're like, yeah, wait, hold on, why am I on this side of the field? What is going on?
Yeah, I think it's it's the beauty of Taylor songs. You can really kind of see something in your life in them. And it can be relatable to your life and what you're going through at that moment. Mm-hmm. And in that note, we should pick what we're doing next week.
All right, yeah.
But if you haven't registered, you might not be able to.
Yeah.
But you should definitely check it out.
Yeah,
check out your deadlines. If you do live in New Hampshire, you can register same day.
Mm-hmm. And we hope you're doing it. Everyone go out vote.
I like the stickers.
Stickers a bomb.
I also like to vote.
All right. Each and every week, we don't get to vote, but we do get to roll the Jillian Petruzziello, How Are You and Your Fellow Die. We're going to roll for an album. We're going to roll for a song. Reputation's the only one that's off the list because we've gone through that entire catalog so far until she Easter egg drops.
Taylor's version, TV.
All right. Rolling for an album.
Okay, I'm ready.
Oh, well. You know what? I knew I was feeling angsty at my typewriter.
Are we doing a Tortured Poet song?
A Tortured Poet song.
Oh, are we doing regular or anthology? Just roll this. I'll be excited all
If
my
you're
own.
good on the ride home, we'll do 18.
Ooh, an anthology. It is.
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
We're going to do I'm Going to Get You Back.
I'm Going to Get You Back. From the anthology edition of Tortured Poets. Tortured Poets 2, now with even more torture.
More poets.
Even more poets. Okay, Lana. I'm sorry, Del Rey. All right.
All right. Well, thank you for listening.
Yeah.
If you haven't already, like, follow, subscribe, rate, review. You can leave us comments on our Spotify.
Yeah, leave us comments. Let us know why Kate's right. Let us know why I'm wrong. You don't need to tell us how you're voting, but we hope you're voting.
Yeah, you vote next week. So
yeah, you got some time.
Yeah. 6 days.
You know what? This is a great podcast to listen to while you're waiting in line.
Thanks again for listening. I'm Kait the Swiftie.
I'm also Swift Sam.
We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.